he is agreeing to cooperate not just on the crimes to which he pleaded guilty today and the crimes to which he was convicted in Virginia. So not just the question of money laundering and all the work he did years ago in Ukraine, but he's also agreeing to cooperate on anything else the government is interested in. So if Bob Mueller wants to ask him about the meeting in Trump Tower or the changes to the Republican Party platform to make it more friendly to Russia, he has to answer those questions truthfully, and he has to agree to testify either in a grand jury or potentially at a trial down the road.
And to be clear here, as the White House, Mr. Giuliani and Sarah Huckabee Sanders have said, these pleas have nothing to do with the White House. They predate his time of service to the Trump campaign, correct?
That's exactly right. I think there's a question about the president's judgment when you look at his campaign manager now joining his personal attorney and his national security advisor in pleading guilty. But there's nothing in what Paul Manafort has pled guilty today that directly implicates the president in any crime. These are all activities that predated his service with the president. But I think the thing that I would be worried about in the White House is if Paul Manafort knows about any criminality, not just on behalf of the president, but say on behalf of Donald Trump Jr. or Jared Kushner or Roger Stone, who we know the special counsel is taking a very hard look at, he is now compelled to testify truthfully about any of those individuals.
Matthew, what's your suspicion on this? Does he know anything about anything else, or is this a situation where he's pleading, it's going to get out of the way? His lawyers have been cooperating with President Trump's lawyers to this point. Do you think that's still the case?
I doubt very much they're still participating. They had a joint defense agreement, which is something that's common in these types of cases. I would suspect that his interests are probably adverse to the president now, and that they withdrew from that joint defense agreement last night. We'll wait to see for confirmation of it. But I think going forward, if you want to look at where the special counsel is going next, we don't have any way of knowing what Paul Manafort knows and what he's able to offer. But I will tell you, before entering into this cooperation agreement, Bob Mueller and his team would have found out the answers to those questions. They don't enter into this agreement without holding what's called a proffer session first, where Manafort would have had to sit down and answer all of these questions before getting any kind of agreement, before Mueller's team agreed to any sort of reduction in sentencing.
So they've gotten...
he hasn't testified publicly or to a grand jury yet, most likely. They know the answers to those questions.
But the FBI has gotten at least an appetizer portion of what he knows, and it was sufficiently tasty for the special prosecutor, the Justice Department, to sign up for this for this agreement. Let me ask you one other thing. How could Mr. Trump, the president, has said some rather sympathetic things about Mr. Manafort? How could a pardon play in all of this and scramble the agreement that Manafort has reached today to cooperate?
You know, if the president was looking to prevent Paul Manafort from cooperating or testifying against him through the use of a pardon, that ship has really sailed now because of this proffer session. It's not just Manafort's agreement to cooperate in the future that's important. It's the fact that he's already told the prosecutors everything he knows, and he's answered the questions that they would have asked, and I guarantee you they would have asked these questions about the Trump Tower meeting and other things potentially involving the president. So if the president were to pardon him now, and you know, allow him to walk free tomorrow, Bob Mueller already knows the answers to those questions, and he could still compel him to testify with a grand jury subpoena. He could compel him to testify at trial. And if Manafort were to come into the grand jury and give answers that were in contradiction to what he's already told Mueller's prosecutors under oath, he could then be prosecuted under perjury. So
could he be pardoned for that too?
He could be pardoned for that, but I think at some point you get this place where if the president is going to issue repeat pardons down the road and pardon someone 3 or 4 times for crimes that he's committing to try to obstruct justice, that would, I think, be the point where there'd be grave questions in front of Congress.